Good evening and welcome to 365 Days of Amazing Stories with Theo Mayer. Here we are on day 243, and I'm continuing the story of the youth who wanted to know what it was to be afraid. Now, he had spent the first night there in the castle. Everything was fine. He hadn't been afraid through the many episodes that unfolded with animals coming and trying to attack him, and a bed that moved of itself through the castle until it ran into a wall. But the next day, there he was, sleeping next to the fireplace. Now, he spent the day out and about, and the evening was brought back to the castle. He stirred up his fire again and made ready for another night. And an apparition came to him. And at first it was shrieking and screaming, and the youth, scolded the apparition until it quieted down, and then the apparition turned into a beautiful woman who led him down a hall and down a stairway into a lower part of the castle. And there she showed him 3 chests filled with gold. And as he was looking at this gold, the light that the apparition had brought down with her, it was a torch. It became extinguished, and she disappeared with it. Here the youth was down in this cold, dark room, completely in the dark. He thought, certainly I can find my way out. And groping, feeling with his hands, eventually he did. Now there were some more shrieks and screams through the night, but the youth, he just lay there on the floor next to the fire and quickly fell asleep. Next morning, the king found him again, just as he had before, and, was surprised that he was still alive. He spent the day out in the world and returned to the castle in the evening. This time, through the fireplace where he had his fire, halves of men began to fall down through the fireplace. First the top part of a torso, and then the legs, and this repeated itself numerous times until there were 12 halves of men laying about on the floor. Well, the youth, he gathered up these parts, the halves, and he began to figure out, which half went with the other half. And he laid them out all on the floor. And as he did this, the halves joined together and these men stood up. They beat against the wall, and down through the chimney again came a number of bones and skulls. And these set these up on one side of the room, and they began to use the skulls as bowling balls to knock the pins over. And the youth thought, this looks like quite a game, and asked to join. And they said, well, you can't join unless you have money. The youth said, I have plenty here. I'll show you, which he did. So he was allowed to join, and he, after his first roll, he said, these skulls won't do. We're going to have to round them up. So he put each one on his lathe and turned them until they were round. Now he lost some money, but at 12 midnight, when the clock tower in the town close by began to ring, all those men vanished, just as the apparition had the night before. Everything grew quiet in the castle, and again he laid himself down to sleep by the fire, and was awakened the next morning by the king. Now the king had grown fond of this young man through these many nights, his candor, his seeming bravery. And so the two of them, arm in arm, went back to the palace where the king was staying, talking about his daughter and the marriage that would be up and coming. And we'll leave the two of them there, discussing the wedding that would be coming up.